everyone, my name is May and welcome back to me. I'm again being a bit sporadic, but I'm here. Why, May? Come over here. What did you say? As you can see, yes, I gave my hair a bit of a snip. Much more easy to manage now. Also, it made me realize how gross my other hair was. It was long and... What? Trialing out using this microphone. I actually already filmed this video and the entire video file broke, so I took it as just a thing that really I just need to be refilming the video anyway, and trying out this new microphone that I kind of have. I say new, I got it at Christmas and I just have not used it. Oh wow, Christmas was a long time ago. Yeah, alrighty, so to get on to the topic of the day. Today we are doing a comparison video in the book of Howl's Moving Castle written by Diana Wayne Jones and the movie of Howl's Moving Castle done by Hayao Miyazaki. I don't have a copy of it, I'm just gonna, yeah, can just sit here and probably obscure my face. Anyway, I was thinking about the way these two books actually kind of complement one another. I've been wanting to make this video for a while because I did this as a book club read a few months ago. I thought that really this kind of thing is needed. I tried to look on the internet to see if there was anyone who was really doing a comparison video between these two, and I couldn't really see any, because the thing is, I think these two actually complement one another, and I think if you actually read the book as a companion thing to the movie, and if you do the movie like what you normally do with a movie and just use it as a nice visual aid to seeing what you're seeing in the book, also helping you concrete down on some themes that are in this book, because it's quite a confusing book. I'm hoping giving a bit of a breakdown of both the book and the movie will help people to solidify the reason why I think you should actually do both. So I guess the first question is, which one should you look at first? My answer is kind of yes. Do both. I don't care that you can't do two things at once. You're not Leonardo da Vinci, but just do both. Like the normal rule of thumb, I would say read the book first, then watch the movie. However, kind of both of them are worth magnanimous amounts on the rewatch/reread, so because you pick up so many things that are foreshadowed in both of them, and especially if you've read the book, watch the movie, read the book again, you can see where the two are image color copies of each other, and it's very cute. It's just so cool, like being able to see the parallels that Miyazaki has tried to make and the things that Miyazaki has tried to extrapolate from the book to put into a movie form, I think is very clever. So to kind of give a bit of a synopsis of what happens both in the book and the movie as kind of like the first part synopsis. So Howl's Moving Castle as a story follows a girl called Sophie. Sophie is the eldest of three sisters and therefore doomed to a boring life, taking over her parents' hat shop, because eldest children cannot be reckless and adventurous when they have all that expectation on their shoulders. In the meanwhile, her sisters are sent off to be apprentices to interesting things like bakers and witches, whereas she's left at home learning how to run the hat shop. Sophie is actually fairly kind of like, she's okay with this in a, she's like, this is what she's resigned herself to kind of way. That is all flipped on its head when Sophie seemingly randomly is cursed by the infamous Witch of the Waste, who turns her into a 90-year-old woman, a nice outside image of what she is kind of on the inside. The biggest kicker of this spell though is that she cannot tell anyone that she's under a spell. Sophie realizes that she obviously cannot stay where she is, and so she runs for the hills to try and find somewhere to reverse her curse. She knows that her sister is studying magic, and so she tries to go and find that. She ends up in Howl's Moving Castle that is in the Wastes. She makes friends with Howl's fire demon called Calcifer. Calcifer makes her a bargain that if she breaks the curse that he's under, he'll break the curse that she's under. Sophie's then like, but what are you under? And he's like, you'll just have to find out. So you have to stay in the castle till you can find out what it is. And hence we have our massive, I guess, kicker of why she has to stay. The story in both the book and the movie then unfolds from there, but from there they both take different kind of trajectories. By that I mean kind of they take trajectories that are in the same thing, but the movie kind of only shares some of them. It shares like part of the plot, whereas the book has a lot going on for it. I think that's the main thing that confuses people when they read the book after having watched the movie, is the fact that the movie has really stripped away a lot of the side plots for just a straightforwardness of plot. Has anyone noticed how long straightforwardness is? Straightforwardness-ly. Straightforwardness-ish. Like, that is a really long word. There is a lot more going on in the book than is going on in the movie, and I think that's where people find the book quite confusing, because there's quite a lot of plots that are kind of doubled over and shoved into one simmering pot, and they're kind of all boiling out and over each other. And so I think sometimes people find it a little bit hard to know what to look at if they've come only from the movie. But this is where I come in. This is where I would like to show that I think the book and the movie, despite having differences, actually complement one another. To start with, I'm actually just going to go over the big differences between the book and the movie, because if someone is here not quite sure whether they want to read the book or watch the movie first, look, here's the differences if you want to know. Either way, Spoilers! 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 Kinda. I'll try, but spoilers. Both the book and the movie tend to have this big overarching theme of identity running through the whole thing, and also kind of a coming of age, taking responsibility, that kind of thing. Alrighty, so the number one big difference that I think for me often stands out when I watch the movie compared to reading the book is the fact that the war in the movie is really, really big. Like, the war actually is there and happening. Whereas in the book, the war's kind of only hinted at. The immediate reason for this, I think, is the fact that Miyazaki is a massive pacifist and quite outspoken about his feelings that war is a bad thing and we should not be warring. And so in response to the fact that that's the message he always wants to be giving out to people, putting the war in to show how horrible it is a thing that he does quite well. Also, flying machines, because Miyazaki loves some good flying machines. Seriously, I think we would have got into the air a lot earlier if Miyazaki and Leonardo da Vinci had known one another. We would have been flying in the skies, like, the amount that they both just go on with drawing flying shit. Shit would fly. Gone. We would have been like... Next thing is the fact that in the book, she has two sisters, quite clearly two sisters. The book has Sophie's two sisters being an integral part of a lot of the plot, whereas in the movie, they're kind of just used as a helpful bit of leverage in showing disparity between what Sophie's sister is like and what Sophie is like, because Letty is pretty and outgoing and happy and loves everyone and enjoying her job, and Sophie is none of those things. The movie does actually mention her other sister, but you do have to have a very sharp eye to look out for it. And generally, and here's the kicker, if you've read the book, you can kind of look out for it and you're like, oh, they actually do mention her second sister, because you know that she has a second sister. Let's get on to the Witch of the Waste. So the Witch of the Waste in the book is the big bad, kinda. She's the big bad. Whereas in the movie, they make the war the big bad, and the witch is kind of, she's the bad until like the middle of the second act, and then she's kind of done away with, and the war kind of takes over. The war and the royalties and Solomon, mostly. We'll get into Solomon later, because that's another big difference. In the book, the Witch of the Waste is like the main antagonist, whereas in the movie, she's kind of just a nuisance. The book, her and her demon are like the ones tracking down Howl and making him lose his shit. Whereas in the movie, it's just like, oh, she's kind of annoying, bit of an ex, and has really weirdly proportioned body. She's making trouble. I think for the book, the reason why the witch doesn't need to be as big is because the main bit of antagonist is actually mostly within a lot of the characters. Howl and Sophie both battling their respective curses, and also just their personalities of the fact that they both have a lot of stuff they need to deal with to really get over their issues. Whereas the book is doing that, but it's doing a lot of other things too. Wind back a little bit to the part where I said, yeah, the book has a lot of plots going on for it. It's very complicated. Despite that they toned down the witch in the movie, I still think she has an important role even in the third act. Just showing Sophie and how much Sophie has grown. The witch has grown a little bit in having her magic removed. I guess she's got a little bit better. But Sophie, it shows Sophie's kindness to the end. Like, Sophie taking her in, Sophie then, even when she's stolen Calcifer's heart and Howl is dying and Calcifer's dying, she doesn't just rip the heart off the witch, she asks her kindly and gives her a hug and even a kiss of, can I please have the heart? Like, Sophie is kind to the end, and she's used as a contrast tool to be able to really see the difference between what Sophie is like at her heart and what the witch is still like at her heart. She renders her as not just a useless piece of junk, but actually still as a very important tool in showing where our characters have come from and where they're progressing to. She wasn't there yet, but progressing to. The book, though, the witch and her demon are kind of a baddie right up until the end. The book has a lot going in that it kind of wants to be showing the fact that Howl is dealing with his selfishness and cowardness, and Sophie is dealing with trying to live outside preconceived notions and having self-confidence and all of that jazz. Alright, the next difference that I think people notice also a lot is the fact that Michael in the book is like 17, 18, whereas in the book he's called Markle and he's a little kiddo, which I think is just because they wanted a little kiddo to help selling it to little kiddo audiences, but I think also it is for that straightforwardness of plot, because when you're 10, it's a bit hard to be having affairs with people's sisters. At least it bloody better be. In the book, though, it's useful to have Markle as older, not only because it aids in Sophie having someone she can constantly be talking to and clashing with, because Calcifer is terrible at that. The falling star stuff as well, but the most important role Michael plays in the book is the fact that he continues to bring her sisters as something which is circulating in the plot. Meaning that Sophie can't really run away from her life that she had back there, because Michael is trying to date her sister. What a fella. This next thing I think the movie actually does quite well, and that is blending Ms. Perstemone, anyway, Hal's teacher and the royal wizard together into one. Again, is aiding to their straightforwardness of plot in not having too many characters to confuse everyone. This also aids in the fact that they need someone to be the nasty person chasing Hal now that they've decided to make the witch all fluffy bunnies. And Mrs. Perstemone in the book does the really important thing of stating that Sophie is a witch. I think we've now hit the biggest thing that I think is really important, the biggest thing that I think if you have read the book and watched the movie, you're going to get the best deal you can possibly get, and that is Sophie being a witch. Because the movie doesn't mention this at all, but it also doesn't not have it as a thing. Throughout the movie, if you know that Sophie is a witch, you can see that throughout the entire movie in everything Sophie does. She's constantly telling stuff to do stuff, and it happens. And that is because that is her magical ability. She is a witch, but they never mention it in the movie at all. Whereas if you've read the book, you go into the movie with already having the background knowledge that Sophie is a witch, and despite that you're never told, you can see it in all the things that she does, and you appreciate the fact that they're giving that a little salute as they're not leaving it out of the plot, but they're continuing to have their straightforward plot without adding extra witches and wizards into the shebang. The other big thing that I think is really important if you've read the book going into the movie is Wales, because Wales is not mentioned at all. At all! You suddenly understand a lot more of why the Black Door is important to Hal, why Hal is super powerful, because he's from Wales. That's also why Solomon is super powerful, I think, is because he's from Wales. It also is incredibly hilarious, I think. Like myself, I found that incredibly funny, the fact that he's from Wales, and then all of the humour of his family in Wales. In the book, I think this adds an extra dimension to Hal in both how much of a jerk he is to his family, but also how much he needs to grow up. Going back to the fact that Hal in the book is not much of a hero. At all, really at all. Knowing that Hal is from Wales also helps to shine a light on why Hal treats this other world with so much disrespect. It's because it's not really where he's from, so he doesn't really care. I think knowing both this stuff from the book and this stuff from the movie really helps to marry the two together, and I think helps to create the most beautiful thing when both of the characters are fulfilled in both the book and the movie. I say fulfilled, kind of they've grown up. And that's, you know, when they get together at the end of the book. The romance in this book is my favorite, like, ship, basically, of all time. Don't care about you guys saying that it's really quick. Yes, it is really quick. But it also is the most beautiful, just like the way it's written in the book of how they fall in love is just so beautiful. And the way it's done in the movie of how they fall in love is just so beautiful. And so wonderfully fulfilling as a reader when you have seen all of the stuff they've gone through, both the issues that both of them have and the way they've been working them out throughout the entire book to finally come to this moment of them both being like, okay, we've worked it out as much as we can on our own. Let's try and ask someone else to help us work out our issues. And it's really cute. It's so cute. And the movie, I think, does this quite well in just showing how much they wanna be in love and take care of each other, and it's really sweet. In the description box below, I'll leave an awesome video which I found on the character design of these guys, in case you guys want to look more into how the movie was created for the character design, because I think that's another extra thing which I have not had enough time to kind of dive into, and I think is not quite for this video, but look into that if you want to look more as to how the movie actually tried to construct these characters to make them super appealing to people. I think it's really cool. The book and the movie complement each other in showing us how much Hal and Sophie complement each other, and how deep both the movie and the book have gone into showing the growth that happens in both these characters, and also the little side characters. It's very cute. I think that is about all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video has recorded well and the audio hasn't been stuffed up. If this kind of works, I actually think I might do more comparison videos, and I think my next one I want to do is Good Omens versus the TV series, and actually seeing if these two complement each other, because I think that'd be another really interesting thing to look at. Books and movies, are they worth doing both? Because sometimes the movie is really crap, and sometimes, you know what, the movie is actually better than the book. That does sometimes happen. Or is it a good point to actually consume both parts of the media? So if I can get around to it, Good Omens is the one I'd like to do next. If you liked this, let me know in the comments below, and if there's things that you think I've exaggerated or things that you enjoy about the book versus the movie, please let me know. I would love to rant rave with people about this book and movie. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye! I'm dignified again. I feel like I need to sing to warm up.
All the world sings in tune on a spring afternoon as we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison some pigeons in the park.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better now, yeah. Honestly, I would give the book a 5. I'm in a book slump and I need something to reread to get me out of this book slumps out of 5. Like, it's very good.